Good morning to you. Yeah, just got back from the horses. Just had a cup of tea and a little bit of breakfast. Technical Tuesday. Yeah, talking about stuff, just random stuff, all sorts of stuff. But today, I'm specifically talking about the Hemi 411 and the Scram 411, and possibly the 350 range of Royal Enfields. And this came about talking to Jerry at Haywards. He'd just had in a Himalayan 411 with a problem. No compression, not running. So he got straight down to it. First thing he checked was the timing. And he found, after looking at the little inspection hole, that was okay. Gets the head off, or the cam cover off, and it's out by 45 degrees. There's a valve stuck open. So what had caused it? The cam chain had clearly jumped round, but why? So he has a look at the cam chain tensioner, which is a little thing like that on a ratchet, goes in and out. Now, if that looks rude, I'm sorry, but it's on a little ratchet, goes in and out. I'll put a picture up, of course, and that catches. So it's under tension, pushes up against the chain, keeps that tension there. Now, what he noticed, he took the cam chain tensioner off, and there was a huge amount of play in it. All the teeth were very badly worn, and it wasn't catching. There's a little hook that catches on the ridges, and that just wasn't, because the teeth were just so worn. So obviously the cam chain was just bouncing about, and it had clearly bounced all the way around. And caused a bent valve, and the valve to get stuck open. Now, what Jerry noticed was that in ordering a new cam chain tensioner, that there's 20 quid or thereabouts, and they're no time to fit. They're located just above the starter motor on the barrel of the cylinder. So he figured this Himalayan had done 10,000 miles, and he didn't realise how badly worn it was till the new one arrived, and he compared it to the new one. And it doesn't look that different on the photo, but in real life the difference is massive, and you can really see how bald the old tensioner is. So this raised the question: if you've got a Hemi or a Scram, for the sake of £20, I mean, servicing is expensive enough as it is, but for the sake of £20, the time is pretty negligible. Just put it on. Just change it as a serviceable part. Maybe not at 6,000 miles, but I guess it's got to be 6,000 miles, because this Hemi had done 10. I've had a quick look on the internet, and there are quite a few that have had less mileage and the same things happened. So definitely worth doing, I would say, and certainly if I had a Scram or a Hemi 411, I would be changing that as part of my 6,000 mile service, I think. But I believe that same cam chain tensioner, or the same system, is used on the 350 models as well. So it might be worth just investigating that if you've got a 350, and maybe doing the same, because they're not expensive and they're easy to do, and they could save you, as you can see from this one, a bent valve and a load of labour and aggro. Unless you do it yourself, of course, but even then you're talking, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been catastrophic. We've all, well, a few of us have had cam belts go on cars, and with the result in catastrophic failure. So I thought that would be useful. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Bertie. So it's been ages, hasn't it? Absolutely ages. The classic 500. I took him to Orwell's at middle of September, something like that. But the problem was, do you remember I told you that the leak that he'd developed from that, I believed it to be the right-hand side, but it's quite tricky because leaks appear and go, and his was very intermittent, and I couldn't figure it out. I had lots of offers of help from people, but Mark at Orwell said, do you want us to have a look at it? So obviously I took it over to him, and they had it. They couldn't make him leak for ages. They ran him, and it just didn't happen. What they didn't do, they didn't take him for a ride. They just fired up the engine, let him get warm, let him cool down. And then, in the end, he did leak. They don't know why, just decided it was time for him to leak. So they cleaned him all off, opened him up to have a look, and what they found was he was leaking from the sprocket seal and the kickstart seal. But when they took the casing off, there was no nut on the sprocket. So the nut had come off the sprocket, and they couldn't find the keeper. There's like a little washer keeper that you hammer up, and it stops the nut from coming undone. So they couldn't find that. And now, clearly, the sprocket had been doing that as I'd been riding. The nut had been flinging around in there, managed not to come out. But the washer clearly had come out. And I was trying to figure out how that could have possibly happened. And talking to the mechanic at Orwell's, and what he said, when you changed the sprocket, did you replace the washer that keeps the nut on? And I said, no, we just hammered it down and then hammered it back up. Well, of course, I should have known that. If you get a piece of metal and you bend it and you put it back down and then you bend it again, it wears. It's going to snap under any pressure or stress. And the Classic 500 particularly is quite a vibey bike, isn't it? So whether that contributed to it or not, I don't know. But clearly, the metal had snapped, the nuts come off, and the sprocket running backwards and forwards on the spline has worn the sprocket seal. So the sprocket seal is going to be replaced. They weren't expecting to have to get any additional parts, but they, because of one or two other minor things, they've had to get a lot of parts, little annoying things that they don't have. So he should be all up and running. But something else they noticed as well, if you have a Royal Enfield and you order a chain, a lot of them are split linked. You know what I mean? They have the little U-clip that clips on and holds it. That was missing as well. That had gone off. I mentioned that to Jerry, and he said, "Oh yeah," he said they always do that. He says in Royal Enfield sometimes they use split link change and sometimes they don't. And it is that mixture of different bits that Royal Enfield tend to do on bikes that makes it quite difficult. If you phone up Hitchcock's and you want to order a part, you're never sure whether you've actually got the precise part or not. But Hitchcocks are the people to talk to, I think, when it comes to getting the right part. So that's Bertie. So 2 saving things there. 1, service on your Hemi 411. Change the cam chain tensioner at over 6,000 miles. And if you don't replace the parts, and they say you should, I looked in the book afterwards, it's always good to look after, isn't it? If you look in the book, they'll tell you to replace that washer. You don't reuse the same keeper now, but I did, and that's what it resulted in, the nut vibrating off, and then the oil leak. So that's it for the Royal Enfields. If you've got any top tips or anything that you do when you're servicing, or something that's technical or minor technical, let me know, and maybe we can cover that as well. If you do video or photos, really useful. What else have I got coming up? Heated gloves for winter. Obviously, I've got these, which will be out on the 8th of November. RideIron's latest heated gloves. I've got this as well. And these are all things that I've been given. Some things I've bought. An intercom system. Never had one. Don't know whether I'll use it. It'd be good to talk to Mrs. Tame. Comes with 2. Yeah. That's FOD Sports. So they'll be fitting that, and whether that works or not. I might get Banana Man to help me with that. Oh, and I've got a system of putting lights on. These are fork brackets, and I got a couple of lights. Let me get these spotlights so that I can see in the dark. These were something like £27. Have a look. What do you reckon? Are they going to be any good? What do you think? We'll see. So I've got those. Oh, and a quick update on this. Yeah, on the biker guard. Still using it when it's red. Absolutely fantastic. Hasn't scratched the visor yet. Lasts all week, and I charge it up at the weekend, and then use it all through the week if it's raining, which it pretty much has been nearly every day. So that's it. Lots of things to come up. I will catch you in another video. In the meantime, if you're out on your bike, ride careful, stay safe, and I will catch you in Friday's Mutter. Yeah, ta-ta.